Hello and welcome back to the Angry Birds tutorial. This is part 2, and in this video I'll be showing you how to make the blocks, and we'll be able to make the stone, glass, and also the wood, and they're all stylized and they're all in the pack already for free. I'll just be showing you how to make the blueprints for them, and then we'll also be setting up the pig and also damage system so that you can destroy the pig, and then at the end we'll be creating an auto system to be able to count up how many pigs are in the scene, so that way the game knows when you've killed all the pigs. Alright, so next we need to set up the blocks. So in the blueprints, I'm going to right click, add the blueprints, actor, and then I'm going to call this parent, and I'm just going to make the parent block because I'm going to create 4 childs of this, and by childs I mean that each of them are going to reference this one right here, so we don't have to, if you want to change the code later, all we have to do is change this one, and then it changes the rest of the block blueprints. And that's because I have 4 different blocks. So in the block, I'm going to do about the same thing that I did in here. So I'm going to get a box collision, and I'm going to call this block physics, and then in here I'm going to duplicate that, and then I'm going to rename that to block collision and drag it on top of the physics, and then in the physics I want to get a static mesh, and then in the static mesh I'm going to, and then in the static mesh I'm going to set that to block 01, and then in the block physics I want to make it the same size as the box. So I'm going to change the box extent, and I found 50, 83, and 50 worked for the block physics, and for the block collision, 51, 84, and 51 worked for the box collision. So next on the block physics, I want to come down here and simulate physics, and the constraints, constrain it to the X, and then on collision, I'm just going to set this to block all, and then the static mesh, I want to set the collision to no collision, and the block collision, I want to set that to just be overlap all dynamics, which it is already, so that's all good. And then I'm going to go to the event graph, and then delete this stuff, and I want to get event any damage, and this is so that we can apply damage to the block when the bird runs into the block. So event any damage, I want to truncate to change this to an integer, and then I'm going to promote this to variable and then call this damage. And then I want to go back here, go to blueprints and enumeration, and in here I want to type block type, and then I need to click on that, add enumerator, and I'm going to add wood, stone, and ice, and I'm going to make ice go before stone. And this is just to be organized, because when we go in here, I can create a new variable and call this block type, and then in here I'm going to type block type, so right here in enumeration, and so if I compile, I can now select between these, so that makes it super easy. So if I get and then switch on block type, now I can do code depending on what setting I have it set to. So with the block type, I want to set this as instance editable. So now if I drag this out here, I can change this to be ice, stone, or wood, and it will set up the functionality for that in a second. And also in the block physics, I want to drag this up so that it's in the correct position so that the origin is on the bottom. So back in event graph, on the switch, I'm going to create a function. And the first one I'm going to do is set wood, and in here I want to make wood health, and then change this to a integer, and then copy, and then I want to make another one, call this ice health, and make another one and call it stone health, because I want each of them to have different amounts of health. For the wood health, I'm going to change that to 100. For the wood health, I'm going to change that to 50. On the ice, I'm going to change this to 30, and then the stone, I'm going to change this to 100. So in the set wood health, I'm going to get the wood health and then set the wood health. So right away I'm going to minus, and I want to minus the wood health from the damage. Next I want to get a branch to see if it's dead, so I'm going to drag off of here and get a less or equal to, and then I want to get the wood health, put that on top, and see if it's less than or equal to 0. Next, off of true, I want to play sound 2D, and this one I want to do wood break Q, and that just plays a bunch of random wood sounds. Next, I want to spawn emitter at location, and the location I want to get block physics and then get location. So I'll just plug this into the location, and then I'll just get the barrel break wood, and that's just an effect from the Infinity Blade effects, which is free on the marketplace, so you can download all of them on there. I only pulled the breakables, so like the crates and stuff like that, because that works well for breaking the wood. Next, after that, I want to destroy the actor. So this is the death sequence, and this checks if it is dead and removes health from it. Next, I'm going to go back over here and then put the set wood right there. So next, I'm going to select this, copy, click on the functions, and then paste. And then I'm going to recall this, and then I'm going to rename this to ice, and then I'm going to paste again and rename this one to stone. So in ice, I'm going to scroll down, change this to ice health, and change this to ice health, and also this to ice health. And I just realized I accidentally called this ice. This needs to be glass to glass. And then I also need to go back to content, blueprints, block type, and then change this to glass. So there we go. So that needs to be glass, not ice. So then I need to change this to the glass queue. So I'm going to click on the browse, and I need to get the glass break. So I'm going to select the glass 01 to 04, and then right click and then create single queue and call this glass break queue. So with this selected, I'm going to go back to the parent block and then click the arrow. And then for the emitter, I'm going to do pot ceramic. I believe in the Infinity Blade effects there's a ice shattering one. I only got the wood ones and the pot though, so that could work for glass breaking. I'm just going to do pot breaking for now. But in the stone, and I just realized I named these wrong, it should be set stone health, and it should be set glass health. There we go. So in the glass, it's set as glass, and then the wood, set as wood, and the stone, now we just need to set that as stone, just by dragging in the stone health into these ones, and then also getting the stone break queue, which I didn't make. So I'm going to go into the stone 01 to stone 04, and right click, create single queue, and then I want stone break queue, and that just automatically makes it randomized. So next I want the stone break queue, and I'll just leave that, and I'll do pot break ceramic. So next in the event graph, I'm going to set these to the correct ones. So I'm going to put stone in there, and then put glass in there. Next, I'm going to get on component begin overlap, and that'll be for the block collision. So click on that, and right click, and then add event, and on component begin overlap. I'm going to get that, and then I'm going to hold down B for branch, and then on other actor, I'm going to type in tag, actor has tag, and then plug that in there, and I'm going to type in bird. So I'm going to copy this, go to red, click on the default scene root, type tag, add component, and then make sure it's spelled correctly, otherwise it won't work. So bird, and if it overlaps and it is a bird, then I'm going to copy this, and then on true, I'm going to set material, static mesh, and then I'm going to copy that and do that for stone as well. And on the wood, I'm going to type in stylized wood broken, And you want to make sure that you get the correct one because there's a couple of stylized woods. You want to make sure that it's this one, the stylized wood broken matte. And then in the stone, I want to change that to cracked stone stylized. Next, I want to go into construction, and I want to go back to event graph and copy this, then go back to construction, and then I want to plug this in, and then drag this up and copy and paste, and then plug that into glass. So in this one, I want stylized wood, and you don't want the broken ones. These are the ones that are going to be the defaults, and the glass for some reason didn't transfer over, so we're just going to create that real quick. So right click, create a new material, call it glass, and then open that up, and I want to change the blend mode to translucent and two-sided, and then down in translucency I want to change the lighting mode to surface forward shading, and then used with nano, and then that'll be it for that. So in here I'm going to hold down 3, and for the color I'm going to do sort of a gray material, then I'll plug that into the base color, and then I'll hold down 1 for each of these, and I want specular and roughness and opacity, and then I want to click again for refraction. It's disabled though, so I'm going to click on this and type in refraction, and for refraction method I want to do index of refraction. So specular I want 1, and roughness I want 0.1, and opacity I want 0.4, and then refraction of index I'm going to do 1.4 or 1.5. So now we have a simple glass material, and we can go into the parent block, and then in glass we can select the glass, and then I'm going to save everything. And by doing it in the construction script, it'll let us change it just by changing this variable right here. So as soon as we change it, it's going to change the texture. So you can see now it's glass, now it's stone, and that works how it should. And then just make sure that this is at 50, just so it's at the correct height. So now that's out here, the glass, then we've got stone, and then this also changes the health setting as well. Alright, so now I'm going to create the child class. So with the parent block selected, I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to do create child blueprint class. And then I'm going to call this block 1. So if I open this up, it doesn't have any code. However, you can see that the parent class is the parent block, and if I drag this out, it has all of the same functionalities as the parent block. So in the block 01, I'm going to delete this stuff, and on the block collision, I'm going to add event, and on begin overlap, I'm going to copy this from the parent block, the branch, and the tag as the bird. So I'll copy that, and then plug that into other actor. So this will check if the bird hits it, and if it does, I want to get the static mesh, and then I want to set static mesh, and then plug that in. And the reason that I'm doing it in the individual blocks instead of the parent is because each block has a different size and has a different broken block corresponded with it. So we have wood 01 broken, so that'll be for that one. And then I'm just going to copy and paste this one. So we got block 02, and I'll change that to wood block broken 02. And then I also need to change the static mesh for this one. So we got wood block 02. So in the block physics, I'm going to have to make this longer. And for the block physics, you just need to change this to 207, and then the block collision to 208. And then I'm going to copy block 01, and that'll be block 03 because it's the shorter one. So in the broken block, I'm going to type in broken 3, and then in here I'm going to change this to 3, and I'm going to drag this to the middle, which is minus 25. So in the block physics, I'm going to divide this by 2, and in the block collision, I'm going to divide that by 2. Then in the block physics, I'm going to change this to 25 so that it's down on the bottom. Alright, and then the last one, I'm going to get block 02, copy, paste, so block 04, and then I'm going to change this to broken 04. And then the viewport, I need to change this to block 04, and then the location, I'm going to change that to -25, and in the block physics, I'm going to divide by 2, and the block collision, I'm also going to divide by 2. And then the block physics, I'm going to change the location to 25 so that it's at the bottom. So now I can drag out the blocks just like this, and I can easily change them to glass, or I can change them to stone, just depending on which one I want. And you can notice that it's not taking any damage. That's because we need to set that up in the red BP. So in here, we need to set up apply damage. So on the red collision, I'm going to right click, add event, on component begin overlap, and then I'm going to hold down B for branch and plug that in. And then I'm going to type in tag, actor as tag, and then copy and paste, and plug that in there. And then I'm going to drag off of here, get actor as tag, and then I want to type in block. So the parent block, I'm going to type in tag, and then give that a tag of block. And make sure it's spelled the same, otherwise it won't work. And then I want to get a do once, and then I want to apply damage, and the other actor is going to be other actor. Then I'll double click to reroute that, and then the base damage, I'm going to get random float in range, and since the wood is 50, I'm going to make the minimum 30 and then the maximum 50 or 60. And then after that, I'm going to hold down D for delay, and then copy the random float in range and plug that in. And I'm going to make that 4 and 10. So I'm going to get a random time of either 4 or sometime in between 4 and 10. And once that timer stops, I'm going to play sound 2D, then go to the parent block and get any one of these. I'm going to go to the wood and just copy the spawn emitter right here, paste it in right there. And then instead of the block physics, I'm going to get the red physics as the location. And then I want to destroy actor. And for the sound, I want to get the deflate. And I'm going to set the scale to 0.2, 0.2, and 0.2. And then in the parent block, click on block collision, and then type in hit, and simulate generate hit event. And then do the same for the block physics. Alright, so now if we push play, and you run into a block, it turns into the crumpled static mesh and the texture. If yours isn't doing that and it's not doing anything, just double check that in here, just double check that the tag isn't in the default scene root. Make sure that it's in here. Make sure it's bird in the self. Alright, so now to make the pig, I'm going to copy and paste the red BP and call it piggy BP. And then I'm going to open that up. And then in the viewport, I'm going to change this to be the pig and drag it up so it's in the correct spot. And then I'm going to rename this to piggy. And then I'm going to click on self and then tag, and I'm going to change this to pig. And in the event graph, I'm going to delete this, and then I'm going to do Control X and Control V, and then event, begin play, and then change this to 1 and 5, and then change this to pig yes. So when the level starts, it'll pick a random time and then play the sound, just like in the game. And I'm just going to select this and move it closer. And then I'm going to change the tag to bird. And then I want to play sound at 2D. And I'm going to type in pig. and do this one, and I'm going to change this to box break. So then that's all the same, and then back in the viewport, and then I'm going to drag this out here, and I want it to automatically face the front, so I'm going to come in here in the viewport, and then I'm going to rotate this so that it faces the front like that. Next, if I click play and then I hit the pig, it blows up and makes the noise. So then one of the last things I'm going to do is in the piggy BP event begin play, I'm going to cast to the slingshot and then get player character and then promote this to a variable so that I have this right here. And then if it's hit before I destroy it, I'm going to get the sling BP, and then as the sling BP, I'm going to call an event which I need to create in here. So I'm going to go anywhere and type in add custom event, and I'm going to call this add pigs. So then I'm going to set the pigs, and I'm going to add one, and then plug it in like that, and then I'm going to get a branch to see if I have all the pigs. So I'm going to do greater or equal, and then I'm going to create another variable and I'm going to call it max pigs. So then I'm going to get the pigs and then the max pig, because I want to see if the pigs is equal or greater to the max pigs, and if it is, then I'm going to print string and say u1, and this is where you would create a widget and then add to viewport and do all that stuff and add the endgame widget and all that stuff. But I'm just going to do this because it's nice and simple. And then in the piggy BP, I'm going to call add pigs and then just plug it in. And then to get the max amount of pigs, I'm going to go to the level blueprint, so open level blueprint, and in event begin play, I'm going to get the piggy BP and then just copy where we cast to the slingshot, because I'm just going to use that exact same thing. So I'll paste it in there, and then I can get rid of this, and I'm going to set the max pigs, so I'm going to put it in there, and let's say for this level I'm going to add a max of 3 pigs. So I have 3 pigs, and so I need to create 3 pigs, and then actually something better, instead of having to just manually do it, I'm going to drag this over, and on event begin play, still in the level blueprint, I'm going to get actors of class, so get all actors of class, and then I want to get the piggy BP and drag this over and then hold down F to get for each loop, and I'm actually going to put this before, so I'm going to disconnect that and then plug it into here, and then I want to promote this to a variable, so just like that, and then I want to get the slingshot, so I'm going to set the max pigs, put it into the loop body, and then off of here I'm going to add, plug it into there, and I'm going to add it by 1, and then off of completed I'm going to print string and get the max pigs just to make sure that's working. So I'm going to add another one in here. So if I click play, you can see the number up there, it says 4. If I duplicate that, now it says 5. So now it'll just automatically choose the amount of pigs to do. I'm going to delete those and just do 3. So you can see now it says 3. And I'm just going to go back and delete the print string because that's working. So now it says I won because I got rid of all the pigs. And one last thing that we could do just to make this better is to add health to the pig instead of just making it instantly die. So I'm going to add pig health, and I'm going to make that an integer, and I'm going to make it 50, but I'm going to make it range in between something. So on event begin play, I'm going to set the health, and then I'm going to type in random integer and range, and the minimum I'm going to do 50, and the maximum I'm going to do 60, so anywhere in between there, the health will be set to that. So that way it'll be randomized each time. And then I'm going to steal some code from the block. I'm going to go to the set stone and then just take this part right here and then go back to the pig and pull this out and paste it, plug it in. And then I'm going to plug in the pig health into these right here. And I want to get event any damage instead of event begin overlap. So I'm going to plug this in here. And then I'm just going to plug the damage directly into here. Then I'm going to delete the damage and then truncate, plug it into there. And then in red, we're going to need to apply damage. So that's already set right there, so that should be good. And then just make sure to save this, just so nothing gets lost. And now if I play, you can see they don't instantly die. However, they are rolling around a lot, so I'm going to try and make that not happen as much. So I'm going to go to the pig physics, and then scroll down to physics, and I'm going to change the linear dampening to like 0.8. So now it won't roll around so much. The pigs aren't getting destroyed now, so we need to fix that. And that's because we have the other actor right here. And I think I'll just get rid of that, so I'll just go around that. On the add pigs, on the slingshot, we just need to switch these around. So the pigs need to be on top, and then max pigs on the bottom. If you want to make it look like this, then check out the link below for my Gumroad or Patreon. It's cheaper on Patreon for the Pro tier, only $2, and you get all the other stuff with it as well. And I also have video documentation as well as written documentation on how to set up this auto landscape material, as well as with all the foliage. And you can also use it with a bunch of other different games. And I'm hopefully going to be coming out with some more updates with it, with some more models and stuff for the stylized landscape pack. Also, there will be a part 3, just to quickly show how to do. So right now I can use the arrow keys. I can also zoom out, and I'm locked within this little box here, but I can like zoom out and stuff. And the auto zoom that I was talking about earlier is if I pull out, you can see it just automatically zooms out. Alright guys, don't forget to like and subscribe and watch out for part 3, so I'll see you guys next time.